A very good and warm evening to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. No pun intended. Warm evening, of course. On behalf of the Victoria Memorial Hall and the Alliance Franscaise du Bengal, I welcome all of you to this evening's concert, which promises to be a wonderful concert. Tomorrow is Dol Purnima. Today is the eve of Dol Purnima. So on your way out, if you are on the terrace outside and look at the moon, you will see almost a full moon over there. Apart from being the eve of Dol Purnima, the day after tomorrow is the International Day, Women's Day. So this concert was conceived of as a curtain raiser to the International Women's Day and is labeled as a Women's Day concert, where the ensemble has only women who are part of the ensemble here. And we shall be listening to Isoet Chua on cello, Marie Radauer Planck on violin, and Kim Barbier on piano. So as we are already slightly delayed, I would like to, without further ado, request Mr. Nicolas Fassino, the director of the Alliance Franscaise du Bengal, to come and say a few words, not only about this evening's concert, but this being the last one in the 5 that we did together, a quick look back on what we did in these 5 sessions also.
Mr. Consul General, Mr. Director of Victoria Memorial Hall, dear trustees, dear friends. First of all, I would like to convey my sincere gratitude to the director of the Victoria Memorial Hall and his team for hosting this performance. Tonight's concert closes an exceptional musical season and the series of 5 concerts that we have launched since last November. All of you tonight are joining the community of near 2,500 aesthetists who, for the space of a musical piece in this wonderful place, when the musician leaves his hand in suspension accompanying the last note playing which rises into the air, we are aware that we are sharing an exceptional, unique moment. I am proud of the great team we make with the Consul General of France, Mr. Didier Talpin, Mr. Abhishek Basu, the president of the Basu Foundation, and his patrons, whom Mr. Somani from Serra, and our partner Novotel. We remember with emotions the highlights of these meetings. The piano concertos for the left hand interpreted by the talented Maxime Zecchini, followed by the excellent Alessandro Comellato, who made us travel to the heart of the greatest French and European classical composers like Chopin, Debussy, Bach. Then the tenor, Paul Gogler, with the French arias, opera, and more recently Baroque music with 2 French musicians, Thierry Benoit and Am Palouchi, and the formidable Indian pianist Nadia Jo. Tonight, we pay tribute to women, but above all to their talent, their genius. 3 talented musicians will perform 3 French composers, exceptional. Mel Bonis, Germaine Taillefer, and Louise Farrand. But let me first introduce you the greatest pianist, Kim Barbier, who had this good idea to bring together with this wonderful trio. Graduated from the Paris Conservatoire, Kim Barbier stands out as a versatile artist who feels equally comfortable in a piano concertos and chamber music. In recent years, she has played with the Zagreb Radio Orchestra, the China's National Symphony Orchestra, the Orchestre Philharmonique de Nice, and the Berlin Symphony Orchestra. It's just an extract, of course. As a soloist, Kim Barbier has performed in the world's greatest concert halls, such as the Philharmonie of Berlin, the Konzerthaus Berlin, the Auditorium Parco della Musica in Roma, and the Palo de la Musica in Valencia. Let me introduce then Marie Radauer Planck, who began playing the violin at the age of 3. She studied with Lucas Hagen, Alf Schneider, and Augustine Dumay in Austria, in addition to Baroque violin. She has won many prizes, and in addition to her chamber music concert activities, Mrs. Radauer-Planck is both active as a soloist and interested in the Baroque repertoire. She studied Baroque violin with Reinhard Goebel and regularly collaborates with the Berliner Baroque Solisten and the Ensemble Diderot. The last, but not least, Iseult Schuart was introduced to the world of music by her teacher, the famous cellist Alain Meunier, at the age of 10. As a soloist, concert performer, and music chamber and teacher, she studied and worked with Claudio Abbado and Janos Scharkert. Iseult Schuart's career as a soloist has led her to be the guest of numerous symphony orchestra all over the world. She performed the world premiere of Dioscuri Concerto for 2 cellos by Ivan Fedel. Dear friends, this 20th century was, in the field of emancipation of women, a long time of struggle against all forms of conservatism. Tonight, we celebrate, let it be in advance, the International Women's Day. If tonight we can appreciate this magnificent concert, it is thanks to this fight which must never stop. Why? Because female musicians have felt the right to learn to play an instrument and make it their profession. It is because women have felt the right to imagine music, to write it, and to play it. Culture and education, as we know, are vectors of emancipation for women. From the earliest age, education plays a crucial role. First of all, it must act on the stereotypes that persist. Girls tend to repeat the social patterns in which they were brought up and to censor themselves, either because of the lack of self-confidence or to respond to a supposed school injunction that does not allow them to project themselves into the future in any other way. This is why it is fundamental to reinforce this self-esteem by showing thus young girls success stories of other women, to show them that there are women doctors, lawyers, teachers, editors, musicians, diplomats, composers, and that is legitimate for them to aspire to such position. Finally, culture, through its artistic expression, can be seen as an extension of this access of knowledge. Access to education and culture for men and women, it's conditioned by the rule of law. Emancipation and individual expression are only possible in a free and democratic space. There is no individual freedom without collective respect, and it is unacceptable that women are forbidden still today to have access to education, to be independent, and take care of themselves. It is unacceptable that women can be victims of honor killings, of mutilation. It is unacceptable that women are prevented from living, going out, and loving. Women are especially fragile during wartime. They are the first victims of rape, attacks, abuse. I am, of course, thinking, and I know, dear Kim, that you know this country because you play a lot. I am thinking about a country that it's actually sad. We celebrate a sad anniversary because currently there is a war in Ukraine. And it reminds us that these rights and freedom we have now should not be taken for granted. As director of a cultural center of the Alliance Franscaise, I wanted to express my solidarity in Kolkata with the Alliance Franscaise networks in Ukraine and with the Ukrainian people. Solidarity with the women who are not the least courageous and they do not hesitate alongside men to participate in the war effort to defend their identity, their culture, their freedoms, and the right to live in a free and democratic country. It is a privilege to welcome you tonight, dear Kim, dear Marie, dear Ise. Thanks to you, we are ending the musical season in style. Thanks to the Alliance Franscaise team for their work, that I salute. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.
May I now invite Monsieur Didier Talpin, Consul General of France in Calcutta, to kindly say a few words, give a contextualization to the kind of music that we are going to listen to this evening.
We will see. If you open a dictionary and the letter A, you will find, dear friends, chers amis, ladies and gentlemen, under the word action, the following definition. The fact of acting, of doing something, of showing a will, of accomplishing something. And this is exactly what is going to happen today in front of your ears and eyes. Today, or to be more precise in today, we celebrate the International Day of Women's Rights, which was actually created in 1910 in Copenhagen, and also the fact that France will take the lead of the European Union Gender Champion Program. To celebrate such a day and such a program, which means a tribute paid to the vital necessity of considering one half of humanity as absolutely equal to the other half, we, Consulate General of France in Kolkata and Alliance Franscaise du Bengal, decided not to organize another round table about women and their rights, but to give the floor to them and let them demonstrate how equally talented they are. To say it in a more direct way, women are going to be at 90% responsible of the current evening, which is devoted to them. Woman celebration through woman somehow. First of all, and this is quite rare, you're gonna listen to works composed by women. And in addition, it's a big plus, by French women. There have been indeed a certain number of great women composers in the history of Western classical music since old ages. Let's mention Hildegard von Bingen in the old age, in the Middle Age period, Elisabeth Jacquet de la Guerre during the Baroque period, the Princess Amalia, she was the sister of Prussian King Frederick II, and the Romantic era, Fanny Mendelssohn, Clara Schumann, to name but a few. In France, with the exception of Elisabeth Jacquet, we had to wait more or less for the 19th century to really find them. Some women from the so-called upper classes of the time, to be honest, had been very active in France during the 18th century, but more on the field of philosophy and social reforms. It was the time of the Salon Philosophique, held by some of these women, whose exceptionally rich content and output would lead, among other influences, to nothing less than the French Revolution. A lot of these women showed a tremendous courage, and some, I'm thinking of Olympe de Gouges or Charlotte Corday, lost their lives for their ideal of freedom, equality, and fraternity, the French motto. But things changed in the course of the 19th century, things becoming more balanced and allowing women, step after step, to express themselves a little bit more. The time of woman composer had come. Tonight we're gonna listen to works of three of them, covering some 70 years of music, from the mid-19th century, Louise Farinck, to the beginning of the 20th, Mel Bonis and Germaine Taillefer. Three little funny or not so funny anecdotes about them, three, just to show that things were not that easy for women artists, even in France in the 19th century. Also, a respected composer, Louise Farrenc, had to let some of her works be published under the name of her husband. Mel Bonis, Mélanie Hélène Bonis, entered the composition class at the prestigious Paris Conservatoire in 1878, being one of the first women ever in a composition class. And when Germaine Taillefer, who started composing at the early age of 5, asked her father, a quite old-style man, the permission to enter the same Paris Conservatory, he answered, "No. My daughter entering the conservatory or being a prostitute, it's the same for me." Oof. So, still a long way to walk at this end of 19th century in France. Louise Farrenc's style belongs to the Romantic movement, whereas Bonis and Taillefer fall under the Fauré-Debussy influences. Not bad again. Choosing French woman composer to be celebrated today was a good thing, but it was only half of the job. That's why we invited the three women musicians to be the spokesperson of the three women composer. Nicolas already introduced them brilliantly to you. But there is a last mystery to be solved. Starting my small introduction a few minutes ago, I declared, auto quotation, women were going to be at 90% responsible of the current evening, which is devoted to them. Question is, what does the remaining 10% consist in? Answer is, we asked tonight's performers if they would like to pay a tribute to one of our most glorious composers, one of the giants of the 20th century Western music, whatever his style or nationality, although he was, without any doubt, a man. They answered yes, that's why we'll have the immense pleasure to listen to the gorgeous trio by Maurice Ravel at the end of this evening. So finally, this musical soiree will be really 90% devoted to women and 10% to the men. A small wink, as well as probably a not so bad balance for this 2023 Day of Women's Rights. Whatever, and this is going to be my conclusion, women should never forget that we, men, need them, like them, love them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Monsieur Didier Talpin. 90 and 10 is a good mathematics that he has done. When I look at the audience, it is possibly not 90 to 10, but it is a fair ratio as far as I can see, even among the audience, which is also very, very encouraging. So before we call the musicians on stage, we would like to remove this little monstrous thing from the stage so that all of you can get a better view. Can I ask the volunteers to please come and take this down? And while they are coming up to remove this, for those of you who might have come in a hurry and really forgotten to put your phones on silent mode, please take a minute to do that right now.
Thank you.